You are now entering the MBFP podcast, where the paranormal and the spiritual converge in a spine-chilling dance. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but for those who dare to challenge the boundaries of the known and face the unsettling truths around us. Join us as we navigate the blurred lines between faith and fear. Without further ado, here is your host.
Hello and welcome to the MBFP podcast. I'm your host, Big Mike. We have here today Mike F. He's got some amazing encounters and stories for you. So go ahead, Mike.
Mike, live in North Idaho, and I'm an active hunter, woodsman / hiker, I guess. Mountain biker or four-wheeler, dirt bikes. I'm just in the woods a lot, period. And I saw a lot of strange stuff that happened up there. I'm going to start with the witchy stuff.
All right.
Which I think kind of opened the door for all this weirdness. Don't know, but that's what I assume. So we started rock hounding when we'd hunt. We wouldn't find nothing, so we'd, grab a rock and take it home with us, take some off the mountain. And I think maybe that might have something to do with it. Some crystals that we got. Don't know. But I had started having dreams. Something chasing me. And just before it'd get me, I'd get away. And then a week later, I'd have it again, but I was in a different place. Same thing. As soon as I'd go to close the door and it would get me right before I closed the door. I never saw what it was, but it felt witchy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. And then the final dream I had was I was walking with some people and we could hear something like I don't know how to explain it, but like some clicking type sounds. And we decided to go investigate it. And we go into this building, which is it's a building, it's a businesses now, but it used to be apartments, I guess. I didn't know this at the time. I go in there, I walk upstairs, and there's a lady on the floor, like a pentagram around her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's making those sounds. And I look at her and she's like, "It's not Halloween. It's 1:00 in the morning." And I wake up, and it's 1:00 in the morning. And there's just like this heaviness right over my bed. It was really weird. I actually woke my wife up at the time because it was that vivid and real. And it felt like there was like a presence there. But don't know. It just felt like that. And then that was the last of the dream. So I had a series of 3 dreams. I know they were all connected. And that was the last of the dreams. And then we were leaving to go hunting about 4 in the morning. We stopped to gas up. And when I get out, I'm walking into the gas station. And there's this old woman walking out. And she sees me. We make eye contact. And she looks at me like she's startled. Like, oh my God, it's him. Or like she was surprised to see me. I have no idea who she was. And I thought that was kind of weird. And as we cross paths with each other, she like puts her head down and she's like, "Can somebody help me to my car?" In this weird, creepy voice. And I was just like, oh my God, I kept walking. And there was another lady out there and she was just like, "What the was that?" Like that was weird. And my brother wraps his arm around the lady and helps her to her car. I go inside, pay for gas, and I'm kind of stalling because I'm parked for gas. She's parked for gas on the opposite, just right on the other side of the pumps from me. And I'm trying to avoid seeing her again. I didn't want to make eye contact. I just had all those weird dreams, and she just didn't see something was not right with her. And how she knew me, I don't know, or recognized me, that was very strange. But anyways, I go back out there, and now I'm pumping my gas. And I don't see her, but her truck's still there. And when I turn and I start pumping, I could feel her eyes just beating down the back of my neck. and it didn't feel nice. It felt like she didn't like me. I don't know what it was. Anyways, I don't look behind me. I don't look. I just put one thing down, get in my truck, and we leave. I start telling my brother, like, what the hell were you doing helping that? Why'd you help her? I was like, did she say anything to you? She's like, no, she didn't say nothing. But anyways, we get on the mountain. His 4-wheeler right off the bat pops a tire. We fix it. Then he breaks his chain. His chain breaks. We can't fix that on a mountain. So I'm like, all right, just ride on the back of mine. And we both ride up there together. We just get up there and he walks face first into a bull-faced hornet's nest and gets stung a bunch of times, throws his shirt off. And we get out of there. We leave. He wants to go home at this point. So we get down. It starts pouring down rain, right? And the keys he threw off up in the woods. It's pouring down rain, dumping. Doesn't want to go back up. So we just take my 4-wheeler and I tow his 4-wheeler out of there with him on the back. And he just gets pelted by rain and the stuff flying up from my thing all the way there. It was almost like she cursed him almost that day. It seemed like it was really bizarre. But long story short, that's what I think started these weird things in the woods that have happened. From seeing, not necessarily seeing, but getting weird videos of screams, howls, pictures, things peeking around trees, looking at us. Don't know what it is. One kind of looks like it's just a black shadow, really, but it kind of looks like a dog, literally like this, his head around the tree. So that's just really weird. Lots of pictures of what I think are Bigfoot, more than likely, but they just have the outline and it's black. They're usually from a good distance. Things messing with my camera. A lot of things messing with my camera. Like, don't know what it is. Maybe it's a bear. You can't really tell in the videos, but it's shaking it and grabbing it and trying to rip it off the tree and getting frustrated that it can't. I got videos of that. I got videos of things, something saying, hey, but like in like a robotic type sound. I guess like auto-tune.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like an auto-tune type sound.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, and I stop. And I didn't realize this till later. Now I stop and I'm looking up there. There's no one there. And I'm just like, and I get this hair goes up on my neck and I take off. But earlier that day, I had said my brother was flying by on the 4-wheeler and I'm like, hey, and he didn't hear me and he kept going. And it seemed like it was just trying to repeat what I said, whatever. I mean, it could have been a person. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that, Bigfoot footprints. They're just big feet. They could be hoaxes. Highly unlikely. In the spot I found, that not during hunting season at this point with those.
Was it pretty remote where you were at?
Very remote. Well, when I say remote, people can get there. But in February at 3 degrees outside, there wasn't a soul on that mountain besides me and my brother. And we only were there because we scout 2 months ahead before elk opens.
Yeah.
So elk opened in September. We were up there in February. Well, at that particular February, it was like 2 degrees. Snow for maybe about a foot, but I don't know. It was melting and freezing, but the ground was solid.
Yeah.
So we're heading up the mountain this particular time. Witchy stuff's behind me. Not thinking anything of it. We go to this place and we not too far from our house, really. And about 20-minute drive, really. That's all it is. But then we hike. We take off hiking up, and we're just scouting. We're going to try to find elk. We saw signs of elk up there once, so that's where we're going to find signs of elk. And as we're hiking up the mountain, I notice a path going through the trees, and the trees just all folded over, like a plane crashed through there almost,
Yeah.
But all the way up the mountain. See, we're taking kind of kind of zigzag switchback, but straight up the mountain, all the way to the top. There's just the trees all folded over. And just this one path. At first, I was trying to just tell myself, I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. Look what the wind did. That's how it just breezed right through here. But I noticed it was all the way to the top of the mountain. I thought that was bizarre. The second we get up there, I notice, which I think it's people. I think this is from a person. I notice two big trees, really big trees, not a bunch of leaves on them or anything. And they're snapped in half pretty high up. And I'm talking they're 7, 8 inches round.
Oh.
And they're snapped off and bent over and folded to the ground. Kind of like someone would make like I wouldn't say a blind because it didn't seem like a blind, but like maybe somewhere to get out of the weather. Right? Like let's say someone was up there, got cold, so they were. But the trees weren't cut, they were snapped. And I didn't even think about that at the time. At the time, I was just like, well, someone was up here at some point trying to start a fire or stay warm or something.
Yeah.
And my brother's got his cameras on his back. And at this time, I didn't bring my cameras. I was just scouting with him. And we decided to split up. So he said he's going to take a camera. He was tired of packing his backpack up there. So he goes over and he sets his backpack down next to a tree and grabs a camera out of it. And as we're getting ready to split up, I'm going to go this way. He said he's going to go that way. He said, I better put a camera on my bag just in case someone's up here. He puts a camera up. His bag's on the ground right here. And he puts a camera up right facing his bag. So he leaves and goes one way and I start heading another way. And I look down a game trail pretty much. And I see what looked like, and my mind, I'm like, those are the biggest moose prints I've ever seen. Because I'm up on a ridge looking down and I'm like, whoa. But I walk down and check them out. And the second I get to them, I realize those aren't moose prints. They're just massive prints. And they're like 3 inches deep into the icy. I mean, because it's so cold. I mean, there's no snow. It's like ice. And I'm trying to figure out what they are. I'm like, maybe these snowshoers or something is what I'm thinking. I knew immediately it wasn't snowshoes, but I didn't know what it was. So I always whistle in the woods and whistle back, whistle again. And then he comes over. And I don't even say anything to him. I just like point at the ground. And he's like, whoa, Bigfoot. First thing that he says. And I was like, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. And there's probably a set of about 15 tracks. And then boom, boom, boom in front of each other, one after another. And they're spaced. I'm talking, that's another way I knew they weren't snowshoes. You can't take 4 to 6 foot strides. It's impossible. So it's like 13 or 14 of those, boom, boom, boom. After it looked like it kind of stood in a couple different spots and I was like looking around, I'm guessing. And then straight, just boom, 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 one after another, every 4 to 6 feet, depending. Some strides were a little longer. And then up towards the ridge of the mountain. We're like, oh my God, let's get out of here. We were like, let's get out of here. Because it was dead quiet, eerie. I mean, the only thing you heard was me whistle. That was it. We get ready to leave, and I was like, wait, let's take some pictures. Let's take some pictures before we go. No one's going to believe this. So we put my foot up to the prints, compare. Put my foot in the print, indent, compare. Did some stomps on the ground, jumped up and down to try to make an impression. Nothing, not even a little. Looked for signs of people real quick. But the only sign I thought I saw was that that trees that were snapped and bent over onto the ground. But now that I think about it, I don't think that was a person who did that. So I took pictures of the prints, pictures of our feet next to the prints, picture of there's a tree that's right by some of the prints where looked like it was like moving around, and it's about the size of the big end of a baseball bat, and it's kind of on the hillside a little bit, about 10 feet high off the ground is where the break is. It's a fresh break, and it's just snapped over, bent over, like bent until it pops, pop, and then it was like let go right there. So it's just folded over with you can see the fresh bark. Took a picture of that. Then we got the hell out of there. After that, that was it. Oh no, we went and grabbed his camera first. He's like, we got to get my camera. So the second we walked to his camera, he's like, well, we got something on it because it was now twisted, just a little bit, just boom, from face straight sideways. So we decided to look at the picture right there, and we couldn't get the SD card to work in the reader for the phone, right? So you're still creeped out, but yet we're intrigued at the same time. And then we left. So we head down the mountain. I go home. He goes home, and he calls me not that long after, and he's like, "You got to see what I got on the camera." He said, "I got one picture," and it was like a minute after we walked away from it. We both went opposite directions. Within a minute, something came up to the camera. I was like, "Well, what was it? What was it?" He's like, "I don't know. You tell me." And it just looks like it's a gray hand, or it looks like a gray knuckles, and it looks like it was trying to mess with this bag. Because you can see the bag in the pic too, and it hit the camera and moved it. And it doesn't make, I don't know what it is, but it's gray, so it's not a human hand. If it
Right.
is, it's definitely got some pigment issues going on and some fused fingers. So it's weird. And that happened on a mountain not too far from here. There's three different hunting places we go. And that was the first one. And so we decided to stop hunting there. We both had mountain lion experiences there, which were pretty freaking scary, to say the least. So we didn't want to hunt there anymore. So we decided we hear about this other place that no one goes to, right? It's pretty locals, and not very many of them. So the first year we were there, we'd set up cameras. I think I got 1 or 2 people on camera in like a month. I did 1 or 2 people. That was it. That was the first year, anyways. We find out, and they're about, I would say, about 50-minute ride up the mountain, which puts it at a long, long ways into the woods, miles and miles. We go up because the elk are up. So we head to the top, and I find a mud hole, and I find prints everywhere. Boom. So we start setting up cameras there. So one of the things that started happening was there's a spot where you ride by every time. Every time I drive by there, I'd get a just like that. And it was only when I rode by. My brother never heard it, not once. And it was no matter what direction I was going, that way or coming back, I'd get a. I thought for some reason it was like someone's camera, like someone else had a game camera up there, and that was it, how it sent an alert to their phone. I just thought that was weird. I don't know, didn't never see anything with that. One time I did stop and was just like, whistled back, but nothing. Didn't figure nothing out like that. But anyways, we set our cameras up there, and I got all kinds of weird stuff that happened. I got something whistling, like not that same whistle, but just a high-pitched whistle. So I got a baby deer in my camera, and it's kind of windy. And right behind my camera is where the whistle's coming from. And it's just like real high pitched. And the baby deer, I mean, I'm talking baby deer, spotted, would stop and look up the hill and start walking towards it. And then it would bounce back. And then the whistle would begin. Then the deer bolts and takes off. And that was it. A couple more whistles, and then there was nothing. No big deal. Just kind of weird. Another thing I got on my game camera was, it sounded like a person screaming, like in the distance, like they were being murdered. And I really believe someone got hurt up there really bad. And I got it on my game camera. You can hear it, and they're just like, it blood curdling. It sounds like a man. And I can't even imitate it if I tried. I mean, it's just, let's just say someone's trying to murdering you, and you're trying to scream for help, basically, and you are screaming, and it was pretty gnarly. I wanted to turn it in to the police, but I didn't catch that part in the video until 2 years later. So that's why I didn't go to the authorities, when I realized that. So this time we're at opening day. We're going elk hunting. We're headed right up to the top, just like we do. Takes us about 45 minutes to ride up there. We stashed 4-wheelers. We hike up, and we post up and start waiting. So we get up there, and we have headlamps on, and we're stashing the 4-wheelers, and we're in a dense area because so we don't want people to see them or animals to see them, right? And it's like, turn off your headlight, turn off your headlamp. We turn them off pitch black. And then his comes back on really fast. He's like, what the hell was that? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said something grabbed his shirt like this and tugged on his shirt like that. And he said when he freaked out, it let go. And I was like, maybe he snagged it on the brush right there. He's like, no. He was adamant about, I know what snagging on a tree branch is and something grabbing me and pulling on me. We're looking around. There's nothing. We don't see anything. That was kind of weird. We just blew it off and hunted. Right. Nothing happened that day after that. That was it. But that was an experience that was kind of weird. So they started closing off that upper area where the elk were. And I don't know why, but one day we go to head up there and there's just red markers all the way up the mountain, and even on the ground, which is weird. Normally it's just on the trees, but they even did it on the ground to let you know they don't want you there. We get up there, it says no trespassing, no hunting, but we had cameras up there. So we're like, we're getting our cameras. I don't care. And we just blazed up there, ignored the red flags basically, and grabbed our cameras, and it's been shut down ever since up there. And it just says under rehab, but there's no rehab going on. No big deal. We're way up there on top of the mountain. So we decided to go, drop elevation, and there's a 3-way turn. So you can go right, you can go the way that's blocked off, or you can take a lower left and go that way around the mountain, just a little lower elevation. And that's what we do. We do that. And that's where we come across what I call the witch hut. It's like a hut in the woods. It's really just a tree that's fallen over with the creek running along it. But it's kind of been like blocked in and lived in, it looks like. I call it witch hut because the second you turn the corner, it's ice cold. Ice cold. I even took my girlfriend up there once, or my wife now, and I said, because I showed her pictures of the witch hut, and she's like, well, I was like, watch. Here's how you know we're getting close. As soon as it gets ice cold when you turn the corner, when you're getting close to it. The second we turn the corner, she's like, oh, it's cold right here. And I was like, yeah, that's because the witch hut's right there. And I take another picture of it because I'm thinking maybe I'll get something. I don't know. Something's in there. And she's like, go, just leave. That scared her. But before all that, anyways, we're there and we're kind of looking in the creek and just checking out, looking for crystals or seeing if there's any gold running through there. Just because we like to pan a little bit every now and then. This is right at the witch hut. And I'm like, let's go check it out. And this is before it really creeped me out. I was just intrigued by it. I was like, that'd be a killer place to, post up and hunt from. You can hide in there and no one would even know it. So I start walking down and he doesn't want to come with me. He's ignoring me. And I go to cross this part on the creek and it's shallow. You can see the rocks on the bottom. And when I step, I fall all the way down to my knees. And I could barely get out. I almost lost my boot. If it wasn't tied so tight, I would have lost my boot. And he had to help me out. I mean, it was like quicksand basically. And I instantly got the creeps. I felt like it was a trap, like something trapped animals that way. Because it looks just like a creek, shallow. You can see the rocks on the bottom, like you could just go down and pick up rocks or whatever. But if you were to put your foot in there, you're going to sink and you're going to get stuck. Didn't stop us from hunting. We didn't hunt there. And we just would, every time we'd get to that spot, we'd go so fast by it. And it just had the eeriest feeling. And, he would make fun of it for a bit, but then, I would see him too. He'd get there. Or if I would be ahead and leave, and he'd be like, wait, don't go without me. And I could tell it's because he didn't want to drive by that by himself. I agree. The whole time you'd feel like someone was chasing you. It's so weird. Nothing, I don't think anything was. We never saw anything, but it felt like that. Another time we were coming back and there was a stick under that log that's overhanging the road. There was a stick up against it, like not a huge stick, but a stick to where you would have to stop, get off your four-wheeler, move it, and then go under. So it was placed there. There's no other way. So someone or something put that stick there. So we'd have to stop and get off our four-wheelers to move it. Or as a way to say, I'm here too, and I know you're here. I don't understand why that would even happen or why someone would do that. Just to get a look at us, maybe, is what I'm guessing. We have to stop. We can't go fast. But it was kind of scary stopping and doing that. It was just like, are we going to get shot? Or
yeah,
if the witch that's just right up there, you can see it. So that was kind of eerie. Just just an eerie spot. One time we were up there. We'd go in the wintertime and we'd try to get up as high as we could go without it being too deep and snow and getting stuck. Every year we would get further than any other vehicle. So you'd see where people would go.
Yeah.
And then you see where they get stuck and they turn around. So we know we got to get further than that because we want to get as far as we can, the furthest up the mountain, to see what no one's seen yet that year.
Right.
Basically, that's what we're trying to do. We're way past what anyone else has gone that year already because you could tell from the tracks and where the tracks stop to the point to where we're getting stuck and then we're using winches to trees to pull us through that to get to a spot where we could take off again. Yeah, it was exhausting, but we did that. And we're taking a break because we're tired because we're stuck now. So we're shoveling and we're tired. We're taking a break and we're sitting on the side of the trail. And it's craziest thing. A snowball comes, boom, hits the ground in front of us and just kind of rolls and then breaks apart.
Yeah.
And we both look at each other like, what? And his instinct was to look behind him to see who threw a snowball at us. And my instinct was to look at the tree. It fell out of the tree, which still didn't really make sense. It was a snowball.
Yeah.
It rolled and then broke apart. And we see nothing. And I'm telling him, I was like, that didn't fall out of the tree. There's no tree above us.
Yeah.
That's no way. It didn't like roll down the hill and then jump in between our heads and land. That was launched at us.
Yeah. It's like a straight
And
shot.
I know. I know there's no people up there.
Yeah.
We were deep and far. And if they were, why are they hiking in the woods where the snow is really deep? I mean, it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. There wasn't no other. So that was eerie. But we just blow it off. It's not like it scared us. We just were like, what the heck? That was bizarre.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing that happened. And this is the most scared I've been. This scared me the most. We go up there and we're kind of at this point, hunting had sucked all morning. So we're breaking and we're rock hunting. We're finding crystals, on the hillside. And the crystals on that road are just friggin' awesome. And he's down below me and I'm way up here. And I'm like, hey, because I found a really cool one. I'm going to show him. And he looks at me and says, stop throwing rocks at me. And I'm like, what? He said, stop throwing rocks at me. I was like, I'm not throwing rocks at you. And then I kind of just look at him like, you're stupid. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, never mind. Don't waste my time. I was like,
yeah.
Rocks are hitting you in the head or something, man. You're dumb. I was kind of irritated that he didn't believe me. Like I was throwing rocks at him. I was like, why would I throw rocks at you?
Brothers, right?
But whatever. but obviously something was throwing rocks at him.
Yeah.
Obviously. But that was it. We end up leaving. Go home. Nothing. No big deal. I don't know if it's a couple days or it might have even been a week later. We go up there and we're in the same place, same area. And he takes off down the mountain, so he's heading down at this point. So it's the end of the day. We're tired, exhausted. I'm still packing stuff up on my 4-wheeler, and he takes off down the hill already. As I'm sitting on the hill, I'll say a pebble. It wasn't a huge rock; it was a little pebble.
Yeah,
flies and hits me in the shoulder and bounces off me. And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Did that just happen?" And I start looking up in the brush, which. There's no one up there. I'm telling you, there's no one in this area where we go. There's not a soul.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around and I don't see anything. There's nothing. But I was just like weird. So in my head, I'm thinking, maybe I'm just tripping. That's what I think. I'm just tripping out. And before I can even finish that thought or turn around, a pebble comes, a bigger pebble. Boom, dead center in my chest. Bounces off my 4-wheeler. And bounces onto the ground. And instantaneous, I'm looking at like, whoa. Instantaneous, I don't want to say a voice in my head or it's more like a thought in my head. Like, hey, go get that. Go pick it up. And the second that thought is in my head, I freaking get chills and I get the terror. Straight terror, like I'm being ambushed. Something's trying to get me away from my 4-wheeler, and something's going to get me over there, or something's going to get me from behind me. I felt ambushed. I pulled out my pistol, and I'm looking around like panicking, and I don't see anything. So I get on my 4-wheeler, pistol in hand, and I just take off down the mountain, almost crash because I'm panic riding, and I feel like something's going to snag me off my 4-wheeler or shoot me or something. I don't know what. that was the most scared I've ever been on the mountain. That was the one time that like struck fear. I felt like I was being ambushed. Something got me alone by myself, and that was trying to separate me from my mode of transportation, knowing that it would take me 8 hours to hike out of there.
Dang.
And so that was really scary. Another time up there, same thing. We're taking game trails and hiking, and he's way over there. And I'm exhausted. I got a backpack on, I got my bow, and I'm tired, stepping over logs and going through. So I'm like exhausted, and I just listen, and I hear nothing. It's dead silent. It's just so calm. So I start looking around. I'm kind of getting this weird feeling, and I look up, and there's 10 turkey vultures circling us. Well, circling me because I can't see him. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, there's a predator, and it's stalking us. They're waiting for us to get attacked. So I pull out my pistol again because I don't know if there's a mountain lion in the brush or what. And I throw off my backpack so I can get up to the road. I want to get to the road where I'm in the open. I'm not confined in all this brush. And I get to the road, and I start yelling for him, hey, get up here, get up here, get up here. And he comes to the road. He's way down there. And I was like, look up. And he looks up, and he sees them. The second we meet, turkey vultures circle, and they start flying off one by one, just single file line. So that tells me whatever was stalking us left. As soon as we got together, it left. Like, it's not worth it.
Now, is that pretty typical for turkey vultures?
Oh yeah, they're scavengers, really, but they're smart. They're like crows. Crows are really smart, and they'll follow a prey,
right?
And they'll even mimic a prey to bring in that predator. And the turkey vultures obviously knew there was a predator there, and I think it maybe thought I was weak because I was tired and I was dragging, and I was just like out of breath, stopping and taking breath. And that's when I noticed them. And it's the first time I've ever had turkey vultures circling. And I know they were circling us by the fact that the second we got to the road and together, they all took off. I mean, if there was prey, they would have still kept circling. Or if there was something dead that they were scavenging on, they would have stayed. So they were literally waiting for something to kill us. That's what I get out of that.
Yeah.
No guarantees on that. I mean, I don't know what animals are thinking, but I've been in the woods enough to know that birds are smart, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
They follow predators, they follow prey.
So what about the missing time? I remember you talking to me about the missing time.
That's where I'm coming to right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just picking up on right now. Before I get to the missing time, so the prints that I had.
Yeah.
So I worked with a guy. He has a friend, and she works at North Idaho College.
Yeah.
And she's a wildlife something.
Like a wildlife specialist.
Can't think of something like that, yeah. And I sent him the pictures of the just the prints and made my foot in it. And the first thing she told him was, that's a juvenile Sasquatch. That's what she said.
So wildlife conservationist immediately pointed it out as a juvenile Sasquatch. Like first right off the bat.
Said.
Wow.
There was nothing else she said about it even. And she was like, that's what that is. Says, where'd you get those?
Dang.
She was interested.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's incredible.
I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
And how big do you think the footprints were?
Oh, I got the pictures. I would say they're at least double my size, and I wear a 10.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
and I could be exaggerating. They were more wide than they were long. But they were still way bigger than my foot. I mean, easily 6 inches bigger than my foot with my boot on next to it.
Yeah.
So this is with my boot on.
Could you tell how many toes
and
there were?
I stand in it too. What's that?
Could you tell how many toes there were?
4 or 5, it looked like. And you could tell that it dug into the ground on its step. So the toes would go like down and then kind of like under the snow almost.
Yeah.
So you could see the big toe you could see it clear, and then you'd see like one more and another one, and then the other ones were kind of scuffed a little bit. But, But on each print, you could see more or less. Of the foot. But it's pretty obvious, especially being there. That's. I just wish I would have climbed a tree and took a picture down on it, so people could actually see how these prints were and how spaced they were and what they look like from above.
Yeah.
But instead, I just we were trying to get out of there, and I just took the pictures of our feet next to them, standing in it,
Yeah.
and like tried to get a little bit of the trail of the prints. But when you're level with it, it doesn't really show through very well. But either way, it's
That's
I don't know
yeah.
what it is. I don't know what it was. I didn't think I mean I thought Bigfoot, but I didn't see anything, so I
Yeah.
can't say what any of this is. I never saw anything at all, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
incredible.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this before I go to the time thing, just because I think this is weird, and I think this is kind of important for. I don't know why, I just feel like it is.
Mhm.
2 game camera incidents. First, I'll tell you this one. Yeah, it's crazy. So you know how when you record something, you get on the SD card and it says lost file.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this particular time, I had video, and then over a 2-hour span of time, I had like 6 lost files.
Oh wow.
And then the next video that came in, I was like, "Well, that sucks. What the heck happened?"
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't figure why would it do that and then start recording again. So I started Googling on how to look up lost files, or can you recover your lost files? Apparently you can. So you got to put it in the computer and do all this weird stuff. I just followed the directions for Android phone, how to do it.
Yeah.
And my files come up. I click on one of them and it's just black. There's nothing. It won't show me nothing. So I start reading the files, and there's like all 6 of them. And the dates on these files are freaking bizarre. 1784.
What?
In the past, in the future, I'm telling you, I swear to God,
What?
2030 was one of them. There was one that was 1980 something, 2027,
What?
2040, 43. Like 2 or 3 from the past and 2 or 3 from the future.
Well, that's ominous.
And I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I didn't take a picture of the screen.
Yeah.
Because I figured I could just put it in and do it again. But I showed my girlfriend. I was like, what? Look at this. This is crazy. And I haven't talked to anyone. I mean, I've only told a few people, but I researched trying to find. I haven't seen. No one else has said this has happened to them.
That's incredible.
And I can't explain it. And no, I'm not. I have no reason to lie about that.
Almost makes you wonder what happened there during that time.
Yep.
Or in the future. That's ominous.
I thought maybe it was just the thing glitching when it did when I saw the past one, but the future ones, that's what really had me like, what the heck? This is bizarre.
Now,
I showed my girlfriend, and then I took it out because there was no videos. Couldn't watch them. It was just black.
So it was just black all the time. Interesting.
Yep. Just black, and it didn't say nothing. There was nothing. But you could read the files on what they were and when the videos were taken, what time of day they were taken. Some were taken at like 6 a.m. Some were taken in the middle of the night, and then it said the dates.
That is so
strange.
Weird. Yeah.
That's the first game camera incident. But this one I had 4 cameras, and I was going out with my girlfriend. I bought brand new SD cards, formatted them to my cameras, brand new lithium batteries. I didn't put them in because I didn't want to drain the batteries. I put them in, formatted the SD cards, took the batteries out. 2 of them were old cameras, 2 of them were brand new, right? They're all ready to go. SD cards in them, formatted, batteries in my bag, loaded them up on the 4-wheeler, and we mashed up the mountain. Got to a spot where I've actually had my cameras up before, but I wanted to put 4 of them up. So I wanted a whole area, and I wanted my cameras watching my cameras, kind of. So we get to the spot, and I'm like, all right, it's way up on top of the mountain. And I'm like, all right, this is where we're going to put the cameras up. Done this before in this spot. And she goes up. I have a tree stand up at that spot too. And I set one up, and it comes on and turns off. I'm like, dude, try it again. Try it for like 5 minutes. Every time it turned off. So I go, well, must have broke this on the ride up because I drive kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Go down, go hike back down to my 4-wheeler, grab another one, hike back up, put the batteries in it, put it in there, set it up, same thing. All 4 cameras turned on, turned off immediately. I was pissed. I tried over and over and over again. There was a whole point in me going up the mountain was to put up my cameras.
Yeah.
4 cameras, 2 of them brand new SD cards formatted, and brand new lithium batteries. Not one of them would work.
Wow.
and I'm irritated. I was like, let's go. There was no point in us even coming up here. I was kind of PO'd. And we head down the mountain. I get home and I'm still irritated by it. So I go out, I grab my battery or my cameras out of the bag and bring them in. Every single one of them worked.
Wow.
I still have the cameras. They still work to this day. All 4 of them.
Oh man.
So that was weird.
Yeah. Interesting.
I can't explain that. Now, this is the time loss thing and kind of the witch hut. So we stop and we take this trail and it's along a creek, right? And the creek's on the left of you. We've gone part way down this trail before and
Yeah.
we're hunting, right? And we're going and he goes off and I go off this way. So I'm on this side of the trail. He's on this side of the trail, but in the woods basically. And then the creek's right on over there on the side. And we get to kind of where the dead ends, old logging road dead ends, and we go back, meet at that dead end logging road, right?
Yeah.
And so we start heading back, and on the way there, I'd flipped a couple rocks, big ones, looking for crystals, and stepped over logs because we couldn't get the 4-wheelers in here because there was trees over the road and in a few different spots. So we'd have to park and hike, and that's what we did. So we parked, got in as far as we could with 4-wheelers, parked it, and then hiked in. So as we're hiking back, we keep going around a corner, stepping over the log, saw the rock that I rolled over, and we kept going and turning. And he's like, 4-wheelers around the next corner, 4-wheelers around the next corner, over and over and over again. And the weird thing was, I felt like we kept walking over the same log. I was like,
Yeah.
how many times have we stepped over this dang log? And why is it taking us so long to get to the 4-wheelers? They should have been around 10 corners back.
Yeah.
Keep coming. And it's still another corner. And I'm irritated. And I get this weirdest freaking feeling. And we come around this next corner, and I already know it before I see it. It's so crazy. I look up, and a witch hut's right in front of us. You can see it just right in front of us, right at the end of the trail.
That's eerie.
Oh, dude, it's giving me chills right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like getting chills from that. And I look at my brother. I was like, "Oh my god! And, he's looking around, and I'm like, "Look!" And he sees like, "Is that what I think it is?" And I was like, "Don't look at it. We get to the road, it's right in front of it, and we know where the trail is that we parked on. From the witch hut, we know where it's at from that location.
Yeah.
So don't look at it. We keep talking and not acknowledging it even there. And we walk and we get to the spot where we hike in, and there, sure enough, there are 4-wheelers are.
Wow.
When I know 100% fact that we were on the same road. We didn't go off the road. The creek was on the same side of us, going up, coming down. I saw the same rock we rolled over. I stepped over the same log. We turned the same corners where the 4-wheeler should have been. And the fact that we turned that last corner and that witch hut was in front of us, it almost seems like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Like you
it's
stepped
not like
through
I don't
a
know this
portal.
area. I'm up there so much. I know this place like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
This was like nothing. Like, oh wow, did we get off trail or where are we? This is where we were. This is where our 4-wheelers are. This is the way out. This is the way in. There is no other options for us. We know where we're at and what we're doing. It didn't make any sense. We just don't know. And that's what we say.
Yeah.
Because right after that, we're like, we need to go back up there and go through that portal again because this is 2019 coming into 2020.
Yeah.
This is when COVID happened and Trump was president. So it was like we went through a portal and everything's different.
Yeah.
Weird. Everyone was getting COVID. They shut everything down.
Yeah.
The city. So we just felt like we went into a portal. We're in a different freaking place or something. This is weird. That's what we joked about anyways. I don't know what it was, but a 10-minute hike back to our 4-wheelers was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it didn't end us up at our 4-wheelers, which was really weird.
That is really weird. Do you know of any lore or anything about the area that you guys were in, or
not that particular mountain? But before I get to the next mountain, I'll tell you the last thing that happened up there. And this they shut the mountain down after this. And this is really weird. I've only told one person this. So because I don't know. I don't know what it was or why this happened, but this is really weird. So we're up on the mountain, and we're coming down the big hill. The top half's already closed, and then there's the big hill, and that's where the witch hut's the top of the big hill, right? So we get down the big hill, and then we pull off the side of the road, because on the way down we pass a man and a woman mountain biker. But anyways, we get to the bottom. I'm like, hey, let's pull over and park and let these mountain bikers get down and get ahead of us. I have my phone on the front of my 4-wheeler. I record everything, right? So we get down and we stop. I get off and I go and turn my phone off from record because, I don't want it to die, basically. I don't have a lot of power left, and we still got to get down the mountain the rest of the way. So we hear like clacking, like what you would think like a bear's jaw clacking, when they get nervous or they get scared or whatever.
Yeah.
And the black bears, they'll chomp their jaws, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we think we hear. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you hear it? You hear it? And you can kind of hear it in the brush. And I'm like, oh, that's a bear. That's a bear. So he's like, get out of here, bear. Get out of here, bear. And we don't think nothing of it. And he's all, put on your headpiece. Because we'll use those almost like a Miracle Aid type earpiece.
Yeah.
To hear ambient sounds. So when you're hunting, you can hear animals in the brush. It works good. So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I put it on, and I don't hear anything. So what we assume is a bear has now moved on, is what I'm guessing. But I'm still just listening to the woods. And then I hear the mountain bikers finally coming down the hill, rolling, and they stop. And there's a beautiful view right there. And we're back in this tucked back road that we would go and set up cameras every now and then. So we were out of sight, but I could hear them because I had my earpiece. And I was like, the mountain bikers are right down there. So let's wait. And they stop, and they're talking. And she's basically, because I'm eavesdropping at this point, she's thanking him for bringing her up there, and how this is beautiful, and we got to do this again. And as they're talking, I mean, mid-sentence, and I'm listening, I hear, like, I can't even imitate it.
Yeah.
A roar. It's a roar. It's not like King Kong. I mean, like, if you've ever seen a movie, it's like let's say someone like a bully gets in your face and just screams at you.
Yeah.
It's like that, but throaty, and
guttural.
You can feel it. And it was not like it was right next to us or anything. It was, you could tell it was in the distance. They stopped talking mid-sentence. They were just, the mountain bikers didn't say a word. My eyes are big, and I'm like, because it goes on for just, I don't know, like someone was screaming until they ran out of breath. But just so throaty. Like, you could, I'm telling you could feel it in the wind in the air. It was weird. And I looked over at my brother, in his eyes, he's just like, what was that? What was that? What was that? Did you hear that? That's not a wolf. That's not a wolf. And he says wolf because the wolves started howling the second it stopped.
Oh, wow.
The wolves started going crazy, just howling like crazy. And then they stopped, and it was dead silent. The mountain was silent. And he's freaking out. What was that? Was that a wolf? And I'm like, you heard that, right? Because I had my earpiece on. I heard it clear as day.
Yeah.
I heard it like it was standing on top of me. I was like, you heard that? And he's like, yeah, I could hear that. Like, what was that? That wasn't a bear. That wasn't a wolf. What was that? And I'm like, I don't freaking know. Let's get out of here. We get out. And as we turn the corner on the 4-wheelers, because we got to take all these switchbacks down the mountain, we see the mountain bikers. They beelined down a game trail, straight down the mountainside. I mean, booking it. They were so far down out of fear. You could tell it scared the crap out of them too.
Yeah.
And since that happened, I've been trying to look on social media, YouTube, trying to see if they like come forward or say something.
Yeah.
If there's, and because I don't know what it was. The only thing explanation I told myself that if it's not a monster,
Yeah.
if it's not, then it was someone with a big speaker and broadcasting that out. I still don't understand how that would make the wolves go crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't see how I could feel that in my chest really either.
Yeah.
especially after all the other things that have happened at that point. That was that sealed the deal for me, and I was like, "Yep, we went through a portal. Monsters are real. Trump's president, and we're in a pandemic." I was like, "That's just great.
Yeah.
That's just great. We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy."
Yeah.
Um,
Welcome to the jungle.
yeah, it was that one was house. It wasn't super scary by any means. It was just like monsters are real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I thought.
Dang. Yeah.
He doesn't like to talk about it. He doesn't like to talk about it. He'll tell you, yeah, that happened. I don't know what it was. But he would do. That's about as far as he goes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. He doesn't like. The only thing we joke around about is the portal, really.
Yeah.
Which we had another. Well, I say portal. I don't know. It was lost track of time. I can't say we were lost. We
Almost
weren't
like
lost.
you were on like repeat.
That's what it felt like.
Dang.
Like over and over again.
Yeah.
Until we saw that the witch hut directly in front of us.
Yeah.
Like how did we get led here
Yeah.
on a trail that doesn't go to this? We knew where we were at. I still can't explain that. So
Could you
that
describe the witch's
freaks me
hut?
out. Yeah, I would call it a witch hut just because I got a picture and it looks like a deformed woman, kind of, or like just like an old woman who's been out in the woods maybe a long time, and she's got like a black dress, and she's standing in front of it. And this is only in one picture. I have tons of pictures of this hut. I call it a hut, but only one with her in this, and they're all from distances. And I'll zoom in and take the picture of that because we didn't go back there anymore after I fell into the creek. We never got closer to it after that. It was always from the road through a crack in the trees where you could see it.
Yeah.
Barely, and no trail going to it from the road either. So it's not like there's a path to the hut. Maybe there is from the other side or from deep in the woods, but from the road where you can barely see it through the crack, if you're looking for it or it's there, I don't think anyone's ever seen it really.
Yeah. So you actually got a picture of a woman there.
I think so. It looks like it. I got a picture of something.
Yeah.
And she's got her hand up like this, holding onto the branch, her other hand on her hip like that, and she's looking at us.
That's freaky.
She told me in that one picture, and that's why I call it the witch hut.
Yeah.
That's a witch. That's what I thought. Straight up.
Yeah.
Now I have kind of other theories that I might think it is. I'm not positive.
Yeah.
But there's other things.
Do you know of anybody else who's had experiences up there with the witch's hut?
Not with the witch's hut, but up the very top where I had the pebbles thrown at me. I did find on. I just looked up like weird, strange things that happen in Idaho or in North Idaho in the mountains. And a bunch of things pop up on Google or on YouTube. And I did find this Bigfoot group. I'm going to say it's Idaho, maybe an Idaho Bigfoot group. I'm not positive on that. But going through reading people's experiences, there was a father and a son that found big prints up there. The same exact spot we hunt when they were elk hunting, archery, a few years before I'd even have been up there.
Yeah.
Ever. So and they quit going there after that.
Wow.
And this was all in their report. And it was just a father and a son. They were up there and they saw huge prints. It was dead quiet. They didn't see any animals, and they saw the prints and got the hell out of there, and they reported it. I know those other people had experiences on the mountain bike because they heard what we heard, and they beelined off that mountain as fast as they could. I never talked to them, don't know who they are. We blew by them on the four-wheeler, and then that was the only time we ever saw them. The description on the witch hut, anyways, it was it's a giant tree, and it's fallen over, and it's got a root system. Well, the root system is stringy. It's really stringy, and it comes down over like the mud that's stuck in the branches.
Yeah,
and it forms a hut. A
wow.
hut, and the creek runs right next to it. So if you're in the hut, you could probably scoop up water out of the creek right from the side.
Yeah.
And you can see in some of my pictures how it's all flattened in there, flattened down. Looks nice. As a matter of fact, there's like one year we went and it was pretty run down. The next year we go and it's like someone cleaned it up. So it looks like I felt the witch lived there. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I still think. So after the roar, this is going to get crazy. I've only told one person this, and I don't get it. And it could just be paranoid or what, but it was really weird. After that roar, I started trying to figure it out, and I tried to find stuff that sounded like that.
Yeah.
I found a video that was kind of close, but nowhere near what this was.
Yeah.
It was the same roar sound, but shortened.
Yeah.
Like briefly. This was what we heard wasn't short. It was like I said, someone in your face. Just so angry. But
Yeah.
imagine like a monster doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only way I can explain it, because nothing sounds like that. Nothing.
That's crazy that you had a witch's experience up on that mountain. Was it
Mhm.
was it perhaps on the Rathdrum mountain?
No, not this. That didn't happen on that mountain.
Interesting. So
But I hadn't even made it to Rathdrum Mountain yet, which is called Witch Mountain.
Yeah,
Which I didn't know that either when I went there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. I think that all started with these witchy dreams.
Yeah.
Which I've never told anybody that either, except for my now wife. That I really think it all stems from whatever caused me to have those dreams. And then running into that woman at the store.
Yeah.
The gas station, that creepy woman that cursed my brother that day, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the beginning of everything. I really do. Like the beginning of this witchy path.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Bigfoot stuff, but the witch stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning of that.
Yeah. Rathdrum Mountain has got some crazy lore behind it. You know, you said it's called Witch Mountain.
When I started going there, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I had a couple weird experiences up there.
I lived right up there,
and that's where I figured that out.
Yeah, I actually lived up on that road.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep. You take that and you get off, take the 4-wheelers in there, and you can go deep. You can go deep, and that's what we do. We always go deep in the mountains.
Yeah,
far.
Yeah, I had some crazy experiences living up there. You know, so where we were at, it was kind of it was in a clearing once you like get kind of up there before you actually hit the mountain. Like there's like a
the grassland area.
The grassland area where the cows
really
are.
Pretty up there, so it's really cool.
Yeah. So on the right side, like where where that tree line is up there.
Yep.
But anyway, so we lived up there, and we had some family that we lived next to up there, and my wife in particular has had some experiences up there. Like she actually saw Bigfoot. I mean, that's what she described it as. Like I was at work at the time, and she was pregnant with our first kid, and she had actually. So she called me, and she was bawling like on the phone, and I was at work. And I'm like, okay, like what's going on? And she's crying and like sobbing, and she's saying, I saw him. I saw him. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, I saw Bigfoot. And so I'm like, okay. Like, and I end up coming home, and she described it as, she was doing laundry at said family's place, because we didn't have a washer or dryer at the time. But it was like right across the field, so she would walk back and forth. And she said on the last like load walking back, she had her back to the tree line. She had gotten this overwhelming sense of dread, almost like something like dark was coming over her. And then like the cows across the field like freaked out and sprinted.
Oh, the
and
cows! So I know right where you're talking now.
Yeah,
as soon as you said the cows.
Yeah, the cows bolted. And she turns around because she's like, this presence, she feels like it's like coming from behind her. And so she turns around, and she sees this brown hairy leg step out of the tree line, and then as soon as she turns, it like steps right back into the tree line. And then she just immediately bolts back to the house and, calls me. And we actually end up, I mean, it was traumatizing, but we end up staying the night at,
I believe it.
yeah, we ended up staying the night at my brother's place, and we had actually, we had forgotten a couple things. So I end up going back there alone. And, I walk up onto the porch, I walk inside, and I'm like, grabbing my stuff, and all the crickets outside just dead silent. I'm like, what
Gosh, so many
on
times.
earth? And
every third ride, it was like that.
Yeah.
Like nothing, to where you knew we shouldn't be up here. It's too quiet.
Yeah. But it was just eerie. And so I step outside, I open the door because I felt like something was outside. I just opened the door really fast, and something was like behind the garage, because it was a separate garage. Something was right behind the garage. And whatever it was, I could hear heavy footsteps, just thud, 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 thud towards the tree line. And I immediately.
So did she just see the leg? Or
yeah. She
just saw the leg of it.
Yeah, the full leg of it. Step out and step back. But yeah, it was ridiculous. But it was more than just that. I mean, I think that fall we end up going up to where she had seen it, and we go back dude, not even like 50 yards.
Yeah, I know where you're talking. I know where
Yeah.
that field is. I know where the cows are, because we drive by that to get to where we go.
Yeah, so much has happened right there. But we walk not even 50 yards into the tree line, and we look over. Actually, we ended up taking a video of this because it was just random. But this thick tree, about 8 inches around or so, was snapped about 8 or 9 feet up. And we end up looking at the bark, and there was
I could take you places up there.
There was, this bark
where there's all the way down the road. There's bam, bam, like they're saying, don't come down this road. We do, because no one does. It's overgrown.
Yeah,
we know that's an old road. No one uses it. That's where we're gonna hunt.
Yeah.
And as we're driving down it, I'm looking at the sides of the road, and these trees are just snapped in one direction, coming down to the road, all the way down the road. I was like, I wonder if that's why people don't come down here, because these broken trees. We don't know.
It's almost like a warning.
But I know what you're talking.
Yeah.
I think so. And we lost time there too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Matter of fact, we went back before I get to Rathrum Mountain, because that's the third mountain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
After the roar, this is probably 2 days later, I noticed this helicopter, white and blue, and non-marked, and it's coming towards me. I notice, and it comes over. It flies right above me, and I'm like, "Whoa!" And I'm checking it out. No markings. It comes back around, and it swoops to sideways, so I can see the person inside of it. Like, we're looking at each other. He's looking right at me, and then he flies up and flies back to the mountain.
Wow.
Crazy. And that's not the end of the helicopter things. So after that, for probably the next month, military helicopter. I got pictures of the military helicopter, big military helicopter, back and forth over the mountain, right there in that spot, just over and over, for like a week or month straight. I mean, just all the time.
Yeah.
To the point where I was able to get video of it or pictures of it. And that was it. That was it at that mountain. We couldn't go anywhere. And I felt like I would get in trouble for going up there, because it felt like that. See, I thought it was weird that right after the roar, they shut the mountain down. Like, maybe those people did say something.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They said something to like Fish and Game or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I feel like those people probably said something, those mountain bikers. But it still doesn't explain why they shut the mountain down. It definitely doesn't explain the helicopter presence up there, or why a helicopter would swoop.
All right. Almost. We're at an hour and 30 right now. Is there any chance you want to come back for a part 2?
Probably should, because I haven't even got to Raptor Mountain yet. Yeah,
let's pick it up on part 2, and let's get you back. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah. All right. You have a good one, man.